Okie dokie. Hello, hello, everyone. Bit impromptu. Hopefully, the sound's okay. If you join me, great. Yeah, chatting through the 11th edition rules reveals, which dropped today. Yeah, Merry Grotmas. I'm very excited. I have not read them yet, so. Yeah. Actually, it's even better than Grotmas. It's more like a leap year birthday or something. It comes once every 3 years. We'll see if. How do I see if participants? Ah. Anyway, of course, no one's there yet. So, let's get into it. The core rules. Nice introduction. Nice and grimdark. There is no time for peace, no respite, no forgiveness. There is only war. Haha. The contents. Let's skip past this. Don't want to spoil it for us. We've got a nice Admech versus Chaos image, of course. It's going to be littered with fantastic artwork. What am I looking for first? I'm first of all looking for Rule Zero. Is Rule Zero in this version? For people who don't know, that is basically the rule saying, hey guys, just have fun. Warhammer's complicated. Game unfolds across the phases. Last 5 battle rounds. One player will be crowned the victor. Not always. Sometimes it ends in a draw, but it is rare. It's played using a mission, which we know is 2 different missions. Of course, we don't have the mission decks yet. That, I believe, is being released with the actual box set. I don't think those are coming out any earlier. I think, and it's called chapter approved, as far as I remember. So exactly the same as the last section of 10th edition. Muster an army. Have to create a battlefield. Obviously, we'll have some images of the battlefield layouts later, which we know from the releases. There's been what was it? Rules releases? Not rules releases. Leaks. That's the word I'm looking for. There's been leaks which have shown what the deployment setups are. But anyway. Oh dear, is there no... There's no Rule Zero in this version. Go and get the app, apparently. Which, of course, most of us will have. I haven't actually checked. Is the app... Has the app actually been updated? Oh, what is going on here? I'm having issues with my computer. Okay. Just me so far. Has the app actually been updated? Let's find out. No. Not as far as I'm aware, unless it is a new Warhammer app, but it looks like the old one. I will check that later. What have we got here? We've got the Blood Angels versus some Tyranids. Very fun. Man, so cool. I love this artwork for, 30 years at this point. How many dreadnoughts have they got on the page, though? Those aren't all battle line. Looks like they've got 4. Hey, that's not elite. That's not legal. It's not. It's not a legal game. Unless they're different types of dreadnought. Anyway. Basic rules. And this looks like an extension of the battle above. Ah, it's so beautiful. Okay. Right. Core concepts, armies, yeah, that's fine. That's going to be the same. Unit can control one or more models, yeah. Active player and opposing player. This is interesting. While this is neither player's turn, at the start or the end of the battle round, the player who takes the first turn in each battle round is the active player. Okay, so, I mean, that kind of sounds correct, but anyway. Each time a unit is selected to shoot that unit's controller. Oh, it's basically saying that you can control your own units. Yeah, no brainer. Measuring distances. Okay, this will be interesting. When a rule refers to a model's position in relation to anything else on the battle. Okay, we're always measuring to the model's base, unless otherwise stated. So yeah, so there were rules errata in number 10th, which said that you're not necessarily always measuring to the closest part of the base. So I guess everything is base to base right now until we hear otherwise. I wonder if am I actually broadcasting? Let's find out. Oh yeah, I am broadcasting. Yep, great. Okay. Just telling us what our dice are. Sequencing, yada yada yada. Battle shock. Okay, battle shocks. That'll be interesting in a second. Don't actually want the sound of my phone. Okay. Leadership rolls, 2d6. Roll above, nothing's changed. Okay, battle shocks. Okay. This is interesting because I know that this has changed. This is checking using battle shock rolls, most commonly in the fight command phase. Okay, making a leadership roll. Okay, that's probably normal. If it succeeds, that unit does not become battle shocked. So I guess if it's already battle shocked, it will continue to stay battle shocked even if it succeeds. To make a battle shock roll, for a unit, its controlling player makes a leadership roll. Wait, what? Does this mean... This doesn't mention anything about command phase. I guess we'll get onto battle shock again in the command phase, which I believe will be later on. Let's have a look at the battle round. Yeah, we need to have a look at the battle shock in the command phase section, because this is just saying that whenever you take a battle shock, if you succeed, it does not become battle shocked. Okay, you must only be able to succeed battle shocks in the command phase, I assume, but yeah, I guess we'll find out. The OC, yeah, so this is a change to 10th edition. What are you actually seeing? Yeah, so this is a change to 10th edition. The OC now becomes nothing. In the previous edition, it said that you set the OC to characteristics as 0. So technically, you could use abilities that would add 1 to the OC, which would give a unit OC even though it was battle shocked. But I guess they're clarifying that you now have no objective control. This definitely cannot do anything. It's Controller player cannot target that unit with stratagems. Yeah, we know that. Yeah, okay, so that's all. It's all same as before. Let's have a look at. Okay, it hasn't mentioned any modifiers to weapon skill or anything at the moment. If a model has a move characteristic and nothing, it can be set up on the board. Okay, so I guess that's like drop pods and things. They can come down on the battlefield. Vulnerable saves, wounds, leadership, OC. Yeah, so, and it's clarified here, so objective control. If it has a characteristic of nothing, it is unable to control objectives at all. That is a bit of a change from 10th edition. AP, damage, keywords. Datasheets have a list of keywords separated into faction keywords and other keywords. Separated into faction keywords and other keywords. Oh, okay. So it tells you what you can include in your army. Fine. Okay, unit composition, a section details the number of types of model in the unit. Yeah, okay. War gear options, okay. Kind of know all this. Is there anything interesting on this datasheet? Boss Knob has 2 wounds. Okay, so it's the, it's all the same. Oh, apart from the fact that we're allowed to use. I think we have ranged options. 1 slugger, 1 shooter, and 1 chopper. So orcs have got guns now. They didn't have them before. Now they're allowed both slugger and shooter and chopper instead of one or the other. Okay, several types of moves, each one defines. Okay, so this is interesting as well. This maximum distance stuff, which is interesting wording, and I do not quite understand this yet. There are several types of move a unit can make. Each one defines which units are eligible to make it, what its maximum distance or setup distance is, and any conditions that must be met. Okay, so it hasn't fully told us yet what maximum distance is. Each time you move a unit, you can move one or more of its movement in a straight line and rotating it as much as you want. We already know that that's been released. Each time you move a model, it can be moved through friendly models. It can be moved through any space its base can fit through. Yeah, so this is basically saying what has been confirmed before. Before in 10th edition, you weren't allowed to move through engagement range of an enemy model, but in this edition you can. So that's an interesting change. Space cannot cross the edge of the battlefield. All stated while yeah. Okay, so that is interesting. So the fact that it can be moved through any space its base can fit through. So when we're building screens and things, we're going to have the models really close together, otherwise they're going to be able to go through. Although having said that, you can't end your movement in engagement range, so... I don't know. Like, you're going to need, what, minimum 5-inch movement. Like, what's actually going to be able to move through there? Like, maybe some Slaanesh models moving like 14 inches, but I think it's going to be very rare that you're going to get a model actually crossing through the engagement range of somebody else. But it is something to know. Okay, so this is it again. Each time you move a model in the straight line, move it horizontally across the battlefield, measure from the same point on its base. Okay. And add that distance to any other distance it has moved since it began the move. Okay, the distance moved cannot be greater than the maximum distance of that move type. Okay, still interesting. Rotating model. Yeah, this has changed. Does not count towards the distance that it's moved. This is going to be really beneficial for things which are quite long. Because you can like rotate models to get them into having objective control and things like that. So you can get bonus movement. It's also going to be easier to hide oval modeled bases and then like pop them out. Like, you know, you could have a Toxicrene or something hidden behind a wall and just twist it sideways so its gun barrel sticks outside with 0 movement. I don't know. After you finish setting up all the models in the unit, if that unit is on the battlefield and it's in coherency, and or moving all the models in a unit that you want to move, check that all the following apply. Okay. So move them and then check afterwards. Don't do it as you don't check as you're placing them. Is it in coherency? All stated after moving conditions are met. If one or more of the above conditions are not met, that unit cannot make that move and its models are returned to its original position. Okay, whatever. Okay, sure. Sure. Moving in a straight line, yeah, you have to move all the way around. Buildings, here's that famous image that they showed of a... is that a rhino? Why does it look odd to me? Oh well, I'm sure it's a rhino. That famous image of a tank. Oh, David! Hello! Does it actually tell me you're in the chat? Yay! Thanks for joining me. I'm just talking to myself right now. Yeah, I'm going to tell you what all the rules are that are going on. Yeah, anyway. If you cannot set up a unit... Okay. Before your units can move, make attacks, they will first need to be set up on the battlefield. So, okay. Don't be engaged. Have coherency. If you cannot set up all the models in the unit, remove that unit from the battlefield. Okay, whatever. That's a no-brainer. Coherency is 2 inches horizontally, 5 inches vertically of at least one other model. Yeah, so there is now not the rule of in the chat for free rotations, you spin me. Okay, cool. Yeah, so now you don't have to have the 2 models at the end of your unit. So now if you're, oh goodness, was it above 7 models before? So if you're above, if you had 7 or more models, the 2 models at the end would have to, or the models at the end of the strings would have to all be in. You'd have to have 3 models at the end of each of the strings in order to have them all in coherency. Now you don't need to do that. You just have to be in 2 inches horizontally of any other model in the unit. And then within 9 inches horizontally. So I guess you can go like 10 inches wide. Or you know, if you've got massive models, so you've got like Hellflayers, you could probably get them stringing at like... Oh no, because they'd have to be 2 inches close in the middle. Whatever. So you only just have to touch the 9-inch spherical max coherency range, regaining coherency. If one or more units on the battlefield are not in coherency, players must remove models from them one at a time until they are in coherency, and then they will be destroyed, but doesn't trigger anything of being destroyed. Okay. Engagement range is the area of the battlefield within 2 inches horizontally and 5 inches vertically. Okay, so things that are on a ground floor can fight things on the top floor. Good to know. And you can go 5 inches vertically. The 5-inch vertical distance is like irrelevant for the entire distance of the coherency. Okay, so now we've got onto his coherency, so that is showing the models outside of the 9 inches. It's also showing that there are models that are only within range of one other model in its unit. So this would have actually been illegal in the previous edition, but it's legal now. Engagement range. These 2 units have at least one model with 2 inches in opposing unit. They are therefore in engagement range. Cool. Okay, great. During the battle, your units will shoot, making attacks. Select the weapons. For each model in the attacking unit, select which weapons that they want to make attacks with. You can select one or more ranged weapons that the model has. You must select only one melee weapon. Well, of course, unless we get extra attacks, I'm sure that'll be the rule as well. For each weapon selected, while shooting, select one enemy unit to be the target of that weapon unless otherwise stated. Each target must be visible within range of the weapon and unengaged. Okay. While fighting, select one or more enemy units to be the targets of that weapon. Each target must be engaged with the model that has that weapon. You cannot select more targets than that weapon's attack characteristic. Okay, that is a weird way of phrasing it. But essentially this means that with shooting, all of the attacks have to go into a single target. While fighting, you can split your attacks. So this is the same as 10th edition, but it's worded a little bit oddly here. I don't know. I mean, maybe there's a situation where that comes up. You're like, I'm selecting both targets to attack. Maybe that's so that it avoids... No, I can't think of any example where this actually have any influence whatsoever. But anyway, we know that we can still split melee attacks. Selecting targets, sidearm. Some models are equipped with close quarters. This is the new word for pistols, but it's not necessarily just the new words for pistols. I think it also covers big guns never tire now, which I think confused people in the previous edition, which is definitely something I want to read into because it is confusing me in this edition because it's split into about 3 different sections. Weapons in addition to other firearms. Such models can be an exemption from the rules in this section. Yeah, okay. So you can shoot your pistols in combat. That's basically all it's saying. Resolving attacks. Select the enemy unit. Gather the attack dice. Okay, so this is, so they're making sure everything's fast rolling now. So this is something, oh, it actually, okay, so it has actually highlighted here splitting melee attacks. Okay, so this is good that it is very clearly written in this edition. Select enemy unit. Gather attack dice. These are attack dice. Each one represents an attack. If one or more other weapons targeting that unit would make an identical attack to the selected weapon, and those weapons have not been used to make attacks against that target, they do so now. Interesting. So this is not just same named weapon. I think in 10th it was only the same named weapon. Now everything with an identical attack all gets used at the same time. So I guess if there's like a leader attached or something, maybe they have a weapon with a slightly different name, and that weapon would also be rolled at the same time. I can't think of another situation where that would happen. So yeah. Why is my mouse not working properly? Oh, is my laptop dying a little bit? Okay. There we go. Okay, resolving attacks. Where was I? For 3 weapons making identical attacks. Oh, I see. Oh, wait, hang on. If one or more of other weapons trying to make identical attacks to the selected weapon. Okay, let's find out what an identical attack is. Resolve attack dice. Yeah, we just gather, we roll the dice. Follow the first of the instructions below. Identical attacks. Identical attacks are those that have the same ballistic skill, weapon skill, strength, armor penetration, and damage. Ah, this is interesting. Okay, so maybe you have a leader or you have a different weapon that does 2 attacks versus another one which only does 1 attack. You would gather and do all of those attacks at the exact same time. Again, can't think of situations where that actually comes up, but you know, there must be some in the game, or there must be quite a few. I'm not going to know that off the top of my head. But that is an interesting change. I think yeah, very interesting. Okay. Okay, so follow the first of the instructions below. If there are any weapons targeting the same unit that has not yet been used to make the attacks. Okay, so you use all of your attacks against the same target first. Follow the first of the instructions below. Okay, so this is basically saying resolve all of your attacks against the same enemy unit first. Otherwise, this is confusing. Select enemy unit. Select one enemy unit targeted by 1 or more weapons. If there are any weapons with unresolved attacks targeting a different unit, return to the select enemy unit step. If there are any weapons targeting the same unit that have not been used to make attacks, return to gather attack dice. Oh man, this is complicated. I think it's just saying attack everything into one unit first, then do all of your attacks into the next unit. I think that's basically what it's saying. Resolve all your attacks against one unit first, then move on to the next unit. I think that's all that's saying. I will read through that again later and try to understand it. Whenever models make attacks, you will follow a sequence detailed in this section to find out if they inflict damage. Okay, so 1s always fail, and 6s always succeed. That's going to be good for orcs when they're getting like -2 to their hit rolls. They're hitting on 7s. Equal to or greater than that attack's ballistic skill. Yeah, great. This is all the same. Wound rolls. Make 1 wound roll. Crits. In addition, other rules can be triggered by a critical hit or a critical wound. Yeah, lethal and devastating. Yeah, that's all the same. Okay, so this is where things start to change. Again, with save rolls, it's going to mean that precision weapons are more important in this edition. Or precision weapons are going to be more powerful because you'll get to kill the leader. It's hard to explain, like, just with words, but basically, yeah, we'll get onto it in a second. Wound rolls, yeah, this is the same. Strength is half, yeah, so exactly twice or more, and half or less. Save rolls. Okay, so divide all models in the target unit into the following groups as many times as required. 1 group for each character model. 1 group for all other models with the same wound, save, and invulnerable save. Okay. Allocation order. Declare the order in which those groups will have all attacks allocated to them, applying all of the following. If a non-character group contains a model that has lost 1 or more wounds, that group must be the first in the allocation order. Okay, so if something has taken a wound, so like if you had a runt herd with your grots and the runt herd had taken 1 wound, you'd have to put the wound on the runt herd first. You couldn't then put it on the grots. So characters are last to be attacked. Character groups containing models that has lost 1 or more wounds must be... Character groups containing a model that has lost 1 or more wounds must be earlier in the allocation order than character groups containing no wounded models. Okay, makes sense. But that is interesting for, like, if you've got Ghazghkull and Makari. Ghazghkull takes some wounds, but Makari's still alive. The wounds would have to get put onto Ghazghkull first, before it goes into Makari. God, I'm doing a lot of orc references today, but anyway. Yeah, cool. Inflict damage, save roll, select model. Okay, yeah. So basically you roll all of your saves now. You don't roll per model as you did before. You roll everything, and then you pick out like the lowest dice rolls, and then you assign in order of the groups that those wounds are getting assigned to. I wish I could explain that better. I think there's better diagrams and things out there on the internet, but just know that this is very different from 10th edition. Select a model is reduced to 0 wounds or fewer, it is destroyed. That means that, like, wounds don't roll over onto the next character, which, you know, that's the same as the previous edition. Okay, so there's some examples here. Oh, goodness me. It's going to be annoying. What is BP? Bolt pistols, bolt guns. Okay, so these are attacking. Three adaptized. Yeah, okay. Okay. Okay, it's explaining, like, which one's getting wounded when. Attacking attached units. Oh man, okay. This is all... Yeah, I mean, this has come out in previous releases. This is all very... I'm not going to go through all of this now. You guys can all read through it. I understand the concept at this point. I've tried to explain it as best as I can. You know, it is what it is. Visibility. Line of sight is used to determine visibility between models. Okay, so it's always line of sight. For an observing model to have line of sight, it must be possible to draw an imaginary line of 1 millimeter wide from any part of that model to any part of the model being observed. This is the line of sight. While doing so, other models in the observed models unit and in the observing models unit and the observed models unit are ignored. Okay, so you can shoot through your own models and the enemy models that are in the attacking and defending units. So for example, if you get a big rhino and you put it in front of your models, that enemy cannot shoot through that rhino, and vice versa. If they put their models behind one of their rhinos, they are not going to be able to shoot you, because that is not part of the same model, not part of the same unit. Other models and units cannot be either visible or fully visible to the observing model, as shown opposite. Note that the terrain applies additional rules to visibility. Other models and units can be either visible or fully visible to the observing model. Okay, we've got model visibility in a second. Other models and units can be either visible or fully visible to the observing model as shown opposite. Okay, don't fully understand what that is meaning, but never mind. Mortal wounds. Some attacks inflict mortal wounds. Until either of them have been inflicted. Okay, let's have a look. Select model. Select one model. Unit. If a non-character model is in that unit, I mean, this is basically just wound allocation is the same for mortal wounds. Resolve damage, yeah, okay. Mortal wounds and normal damage. When resolving attack dice, if those attacks inflict a mixture of both mortal wounds and normal damage, resolve all the normal. Yeah, okay. So normal damage first before mortal wounds. I suppose that's actually interesting. So devastating wounds apply mortal wounds. So they're not actually writing what devastating wounds does here, but this covers devastating wounds. So devastating wounds are still all applied at the end of combat based on the wording of mortal wounds and normal damage allocation. Okie dokie. Hazard rolls. Make a hazard roll. Okay, so this is again is change. This is something I was really interested by. To make a hazard roll for each unit, roll 1d6. 1 to 2, it suffers 1 mortal wound. Or 3 mortal wounds instead if each model in that unit is a monster or vehicle unit. Is a monster or vehicle model. That's an interesting way of phrasing that. So, is there any situation where there is a monster and vehicle with a non-monster or vehicle model? Yeah, I mean, if anyone has watched this far and wants to let me know, I don't personally know of where you pair up a monster or a vehicle with a non-monster or vehicle. But so I guess characters. So Khan firing his plasma pistol, he'll only ever take 1 mortal wound. So in the previous edition, character models would take 3 mortal wounds. I guess they've changed that. So character models are also only taking 1 mortal wound, and that unit suffers 1 mortal wound. So your plasma gun itself does not actually have to be the model that takes the mortal wound. Less thematic, but you know, simultaneously roll your hazard rolls. Yeah, okay, interesting. Okay, so now we're talking about visibility. That's kind of obvious. This is interesting. Unit is visible. If there are more models in a... If 1 or more models in a unit are visible... Okay. It's interesting that they put a tiny little bit of the base behind this, but I guess the model is still partially visible. If any part of another model is visible to the observing model, that model is visible. If every part of another every part of another model that is facing it is visible to there, so the only thing blocking visible to any part of that model is the model itself, that model is fully visible. Okay. That annoys me in the diagram. Yeah, we can see through other models in the unit which we listed higher up. Oh, lovely picture of some Eldar. Or not Eldar, Eldari. I'll get in. Oh, isn't Gaz a monster? That's really interesting. But he doesn't have any weapons that do hazardous, though. But yes, if Gaz is with some people with hazardous... But that would be him firing a hazardous weapon. But, I mean, he himself does not fire... Gaz himself does not fire a hazardous weapon. But if he did have a hazardous weapon, then I guess the unit would only be taking 1 mortal wound and not taking 3 mortal wounds, which is very interesting. I don't think it'll ever come up anywhere. I can't think of a single unit where there's a monstrous model in a unit which fires a weapon with hazardous, Oh, I know, because the hazard roll also applies to disembarking transports, like if they're destroyed. So I guess if Gaz is getting out of a destroyed transport, the unit is not going to be taking 3 mortal wounds when he comes out of the transport. The unit will only... Like, you'll have to roll a dice for Gaz, who is pairs him with a weird boy who is hazardous. Yeah, so... Yeah, but... Yeah, sorry. When he's disembarking from the transport, he would take... You'd have to roll for him, but he would only do 1 mortal wound in that situation. So that is interesting. And then you can pair him with a weird boy who is hazardous. Yes, but the weird boy is not monstrous. So, like, you're still only going to be taking 1 mortal wound anyway. So, you see, it's like... Is the monstrous model itself making the hazard roll? Anyway, that's what I'm trying to say. So it's interesting. So you'll roll for Gaz, but he won't take mortal wounds. He won't take 3 mortal wounds for failing his hazard check. Cool. Right. So we're on to the battle round now. Start of the battle round. Start of the battle round, players resolve rules that are triggered at the start of the battle round. Yeah, so they've changed some order of things. Yeah, so World Eaters players need to remember to roll their blessings of Corn Roll before the battle round starts. It's always annoyed me. I'm so glad they changed the Orc Warg to be in the command phase now. Makes it much easier. Both players now take one turn. Always stays the same person's turn. Okay, good. They haven't mixed that up. I feel like they would have revealed that earlier if they had changed like the turn order or anything. End of the battle round. If one or both players have achieved any aspects of their mission that are triggered at this point, resolve them now. That's interesting. So you'll be holding on to more objectives. So I guess there's actually a potential that you could be scoring some of your objectives in the opponent player's turn more frequently than you did previously. Maybe that'll come into effect. I don't know if it'll come into effect that often. You can only score a maximum of 15 secondary points per round. And I mean, we played the game the other day where we were doing that, and it's not going to come up that often. The battle round then ends, yeah, obviously. Cool. Start of turn step, command phase, movement phase, shooting phase, charge phase, fight phase. Yeah, I mean, this is all the same before. First resolve rules triggered at this point, other than mission rules, both. Yeah, okay. So this is all the same as before. Command phase. Okay, so this, we know that the order has now changed. So this is really interesting. In the command phase, both players gain core command points. Then you check the combat readiness of your forces. Use any strategic level abilities you may have. Okay, so start of the command phase. Gain your core command points. Battle shock, which is interesting. So I feel like it was command abilities came before Battle Shock before, so you could actually use your command abilities. So I guess like this will affect, I don't know who it will affect, but it will definitely affect some things. So the Battle Shock now comes before the command abilities. So there's like some leaders and things will become battle shocked and then not be able to use their abilities. I think this is not great for maybe like guard players, but yeah. I don't know how often it will affect them. But anyway, it may well affect, may well affect people, things. Or actually, it may actually be a bonus of if your unit has been battle shocked in a previous round. Maybe this is the reason why they changed the order. Maybe because you've battle shocked a unit in the previous round, it gives them a chance to actually recover from their battle shock before using their command abilities. So it might actually be a positive rather than negative. Start of command phase, rules that are triggered. So this is the thing that I'm still not seeing yet. So you might gain your command points. Battle shock. The active player must now take one battle shock roll for each unit in their army that fulfills one or both of the following conditions. Is this unit currently battle shocked? Or is it at or below half strength? So yeah, again, this is a change as well from 10th edition. It's at or below half strength now, not just below half strength. If a unit was battle shocked at the start of this step and its battle shock roll during this step succeed, it is no longer battle shocked. Okay, so, I wish I could. Can I scroll back up to the previous battle shock part? So this is just confirming that yes, you only recover from your battle shock in your command phase. So if you're taking battle shocks at other stages. Oh, goodness me. Can I actually find where that was written before? Inflict wounds. Oh, I don't know where it was written before. Okay, so basically Battle Shock only recovers during the Battle Shock phase. During the command phase. Makes sense. Great. Command abilities. Rules that are triggered in the command phase, excluding those that are triggered at the start or end of this phase, when gaining a CP or by any Battleshock rolls are resolved now. Okay, so I guess it's basically saying you can do your... oh, goodness me. What's it called? When you're trying to... Insane Bravery, that's what I'm saying. So you can use your Insane Bravery. Otherwise, it's done in this phase. End of command phase. Rules that are triggered at the end of the command phase are resolved now. First resolve rules triggered at this point other than mission rules. Okay, so you don't do the mission rules. So scoring happens at the end of the command phase. Both players then consult their mission. Yeah, okay, great. So everything is done before you do your scoring, basically. That's what all this is saying. So that's fine. Battleshock examples. Yeah, and I have actually seen something as well where leaders now count as being part of the unit forever. Does this make any difference to the Battleshock? I don't think so. Ignore me. So yeah, so large models and vehicles, if they are at half of their wound characteristics, then they must take a Battleshock check. Great. Movement phase. Start the movement phase. Yeah, we say do your triggers. Move units. Selecting units move. Let's have a look at the strategic reserve stuff. The active player must have selected all their units to make a move with, including those in strategic reserves. So yeah, so this is a difference. Oh no, it's not. Remain stationary is still an option. Yeah, okay, so you can still remain stationary. However, there is an interesting change now to disembarking transports, which we'll get onto a second, which is when you disembark, I can't remember, I think you have to immediately make a move action. So, goodness me, my brain's not quite working, because this also doesn't make sense, because this has changed, because I was about to use Overwatch as an example. Like, you had to have made a move in order to trigger Overwatch. I guess Khorne, Demons of Khorne. What is their Blood Legion? So they have a thing where if a unit comes within 6 inches of you, you can make a reactive move. Oh, I guess this is with the Combi Lieutenant as well. So before, if you disembark from a transport, you wouldn't actually trigger the reactionary move because it didn't count as an actual move, whereas now you're forced to make a move when you disembark from a transport, and it doesn't count as like remaining stationary. So when you do that, the opponent will get a reactive move. I think that's correct. Don't quote me 100% on that yet, because I haven't even read that part in these rules yet, but I believe that, yeah, that's a little bit different. The active player, so everything counts as having made a move. Again, interesting, because they've changed like the wording on Overwatch and things. Don't know if it makes that much of a difference. I'm out of liquid now and I'm only halfway through. But I think the end will be mostly chaff. Anyway. Yeah, so everything is the same in movement, pretty much. Disembark move, that's going to be slightly different, and they've changed the name of, what was it called before? Bye, David. Have a good day at work. I'll figure out all the rules for you. An ingress move. They've changed the name of that. What was that called before? Just deploy from strategic reserves? Was that what it's called before? Something like that. We all know what it means. End of the movement phase. Rules that are triggered at the end of the movement phase. Yeah, yada, yada, yada. Okay. Okay. Interesting. Maximum. Okay, so we've got some maximum distance stuff here. I feel like I need more time to digest what this maximum distance stuff is. Okay, so remain stationary, you can't trigger things. Maximum distance. Your unit's movement characteristic. Eligible, okay. Maximum distance is literally just your movement characteristic. Okay, maximum distance is the advanced roll plus your unit's movement characteristic. See, this is making me feel like if you're going to modify a move characteristic, like if you had like an ability which was like -2 to the movement characteristic, that would then put the maximum distance as being, whatever the movement characteristic is, -2. If you have something which is like ignore move characteristic, then your unit's move characteristic would be its original move characteristic, which means the maximum distance would be the full move characteristic. Does that make sense? Like, this is definitely something that I think is going to trip people up. This maximum distance stuff. It's an interesting way of writing it. -2 from the maximum distance. Oh no, maybe it's not. Maybe this is the correct way. Yeah, so I think this does confirm that with the Take to the Skies, it's from the maximum move distance, which means that you're always subtracting 2 when you're taken to the skies for the fly move. I just think this is all a little bit convoluted, a little bit odd. I think we're going to need some FAQs on this or something. I don't think it's entirely clear. Have they written it? Maybe they've clarified what maximum distance is somewhere. I'm sure they'll have something about this at some point, I'm sure. We'll find out. Okay. Okay, so fallback moves. This is the same as before. Advanced rolls. Selecting modes. Some rules instruct you to select a mode such as fallback moves. Cannot do multiple modes. Okay, so fallback move, order retreat, you can select it if you're not battle shocked, otherwise you have to make a hazard roll for everyone. But again, like, it's not as dangerous as it was before. You'd roll, 1s and 2s before and it'd kill models, whereas now you're just doing mortal wounds to models. It's way less dangerous. Probably a reflection of the fact that battle shock's going to be way more common in this edition. Each model that has moved can be moved through enemy models. Okay, so only if you're desperate escaping. So again, this is the same as before. You can move through enemy models as long as you make a hazard roll. I guess this is a little bit different because you can now move through the engagement rate. Oh, no, I don't think it is different. I'd have to double check. You can move through the engagement range. Of course you can, because they're already engaged in the engagement range. After moving, your unit must be unengaged. You can't do anything else. If your unit is not... Oh, interesting. So if you're moving through enemy models, you have to take a battle shock check. I don't know if that was the same in the previous edition. So if you're trying to do a ordered retreat, but you're moving through enemy models, then you're actually doing a desperate escape and you have to take a battle shock. And I believe... Yeah. Okay, so actually this is more deadly. So, oh man, I wish I could remember these rules 100%. Because I believe in the previous edition, I mean, I've got the book right here, but I'm not going to look into it right now. I believe in the previous edition, you only rolled your desperate escape for each model that moved through an enemy model, whereas now you roll for the whole unit. I think that's a change. I just can't remember 100% off the top of my head. Desperate escape checks with fallback moves come up so rarely. Like I just don't remember. Start the shooting phase. Rules that are triggered at the start of the shooting phase are resolved now. Shoot. Okay, I mean this is the same as before. Eligible to shoot. Normal shooting, assault shooting. Ooh, okay. Let's get on to close quarter shooting and indirect fire shooting, because we know that those are different than the previous edition. Okay, so assault weapons are the same. Okay, close quarter shooting. Engaged and did not make advance move this turn. Has one or more close quarters weapons, or it's okay. So this has given us the big guns never tire, essentially, with monster or vehicles can also shoot in close combat. Your units, as described in making attacks for. Okay, yeah. So we make our attacks. Models you and your unit can target enemy units your model is engaged with. Models in your unit can target enemy units your unit is engaged with. Monster or vehicle units. Each time a monster or vehicle model in your unit makes an attack, unless that attack is made. Okay, so yeah, this is the same as big guns never tire essentially. So they've wrapped pistols and big guns never tire into one giant rule. -1 from hit roll, the same as before. Can't use blast. If it's engaged. Okay, models in your unit can target enemy units. All the following apply to your unit. Engaged and did not make advance. Okay. Maybe it's listed somewhere else. Okay, so this is looking like... I feel like we need to go back to making shooting attacks. This seems to say... Am I right in this? We cannot shoot... We cannot shoot monsters and vehicles that are engaged in combat anymore? Is that right? No, that can't be right. Am I reading this wrong? While shooting, models in your unit can target enemy units. Models in your unit can target enemy units your unit is engaged with. Monster or vehicle. Each time a monster or vehicle model in your unit makes an attack. Unless that attack is close quarters, if that attack is made with blast. Non-monster, non-vehicle models. You can only select close quarters weapons to make. I am not seeing here the ability to shoot a monster or vehicle that is engaged in combat. Oh, this is weird wording as well. You're not allowed to use your close quarters shooting if you made an advance move this turn. So I guess advance and charge. Oh wait, no, I'm being silly here. Anyway, engaged and did not make an advance move this turn. How would you have made an advance move if you're engaged in combat? Maybe the opponent has made a reactive surge move or something into you? I don't know. Okay. I feel like that just doesn't come up very often. Basically just eligible if it's engaged. Has one or more close quarters weapons or is a monster or vehicle unit. So this is basically saying monsters and vehicles can shoot unless that attack is made with close quarters weapons and targets a unit your unit is engaged with. Okay, so a monster or vehicle with a close quarter weapon hits the thing that it's engaged with in combat with no penalty. If it's shooting anything else, it has a -1 from the hit roll. That's right. Okay. This is very confusing. Non-monster, non-vehicle models, you can only select close quarter weapons. Select one that are engaged with your unit as target. Okay, so that's fine. It's the... Okay, I'm going to have to look this up later because it's going to take me too long to figure this out. But as far as I can tell, you can't shoot monsters or vehicles that are engaged in combat. Huh. I'm going to have to read through these rules again. Okay, indirect shooting. Yeah, so this is weapons in that unit. You can shoot something that is not visible to the attacker. Yeah, that's the same. Each time an indirect fire weapon makes an attack, the target has the benefit of cover against that attack. Okay, always has benefit of cover. Okay, here we go. You cannot reroll hit rolls. An unmodified hit roll of 1 to 5 fails unless your unit remains stationary this turn and the target is visible to one or more friendly units, in which case an unmodified hit roll of 1 to 3 fails instead. Okay, so it just needs to be visible to one or more friendly units. I thought I'd heard something about you have to be really close, but I guess you just have to be within 18 inches with another unit. So that's fine. Then we get up to the charge phase. Start of the charge phase. Failed charges. Okay. Oh, note that in the absence of modifiers to the charge roll, a result of 2 double 1 is never sufficient to complete. Okay, yeah, we already know that. Okay, but we are allowed modifiers. It's not an automatic fail. Okay, so that's fine. We know this stuff already. Make a charge roll by 2d6, attempt the charge. If it is possible to make a charge move and you still want to make a charge move with that unit. Okay, so you don't actually have to make a charge roll, so you may as well just roll for each of your units and just go, do I want to? We'll find out after I've rolled. Maximum distance. We already know this stuff. We can get into combat with things unless it's too far. Yada, yada, yada. It's pretty much the same, but you roll before and you... What's the other thing I was going to say? You roll before you move and you have to get within 2 inches now, but in order for you to be eligible to move into a target, you have to roll the distance from base to base. So if it's like 7.3 inches, it's always going to round up now. So it always goes to 8 inches that you're measuring, which that's going to be backwards in my brain. I don't know if that's going to be the same for everybody else. But I think that if it's 7.2 and you roll a 7, you should be able to get in. Anyway, that's just the way my brain thinks. It's going to take me a long time to fix that. Pile in. Okay, so this is interesting because I know that the pile in and the consolidates are a little bit different now. Both players make pile in moves. That's fine. Maximum distance is 3 inches, which is the same as before. Eligible if it is the fight phase and one or more of the following applied to your unit. So it is engaged, or it made a charge move this turn, or it was selected to make an overrun fight this phase. How would it have already made an overrun fight? I guess it's just saying that the overrun fight is the same as the pile-in move. Select pile-in targets. If your unit is engaged, select every enemy unit it is engaged. Oh, actually, there is something that I want to have a look at in the charge section. So I want to have a look at when you're moving your units, do you have to end in base to base, or do you just have to end within 1 inch? Because that will affect how we move our models around during the charge move and during the pile-in. The active player resolve charges with the eligible unit. Okay, declare charge. Units eligible to charge. Make charge roll, attempt charge. Okay, end of charge phase. Okay. While moving. Okay, here we go. Each model must end its move closer to one or more charge targets. Each model that can end its move within 1 inch or more of charge targets must do so. Each model that can end its move engaged with one or more charge targets must do so. Okay, so it only says engaged. It does not say your unit must be engaged with all of the charge targets. Your unit cannot be engaged with one or more enemy units that is not. Yeah, okay. So there is nothing in here that says that you must end your movement in base to base. So this is going to change how we do charges massively. Because we're never going to want to end our charge move in base to base. And the reason why is because then we're going to get more utility out of our pile-in moves. But with our pile-in moves, we do want to end in base to base. And the reason why is because if we don't end in base to base, yeah, so here, this is what's really interesting. Okay, so if I make a pile-in move and I don't end in base to base, the enemy can actually, in theory, run away from us. so models in base to base, like if you engaged one edge of a unit, but you weren't in base to base with them, they could technically move some of their move units 3 inches away from some of your models, unless you tag them with your frontline models. So we definitely want to touch the base when we make our pile-in moves. Okay, and then, so pile-in targets. If your unit is engaged, every enemy unit is engaged with. Otherwise, select one or more enemy units within 5 inches of your unit. Okay, so you can engage with something that's 5 inches or more. While moving, models in base to base contact cannot be moved, that is why we want to tag those. We want to tag those enemies. Each model that is moved must end its move closer to the closest pile-in target. But the target is now the full unit, and it's not an individual model. After moving, your unit must be engaged. Each model that started this move engaged with an enemy must still be engaged with that enemy. Okay, that's fine. but that's going to cause arguments. Fight, eligible to fight, resolve fight combats, that's all going to be the same. Okay, so let's just, oh, actually, it hasn't said anything about getting a charge bonus so far. Declare a charge. Make charge roll. Charge move after moving. Until the end of the turn, each model in your unit has the fights first ability. Okay, so it's got rid of the charge bonus written down. It literally says, after moving, you get fights first. Great, that's clarified. We know that 100%. Okay, so everything that charges gets fights first. Resolve fights first combat, so we do all the fights first. Resolving remaining combat, starting with a player who just moved this sequence onto the steps. Starting with the player who just moved this sequence onto this step. What? Players alternate selecting one friendly unit that is eligible to... Okay, this is very confusing. It basically just means that the next person's turn goes next. So resolving remaining combats is now alternate, whereas before it would always start with the second player. But it like if you like charge the lion, you fought with your charging unit, then the lion fought with fights first, then it would be the attacking player's turn again. It would not go to... It would be the attacking player's turn again. It wouldn't... Oh, my brain's starting to break. It would not go onto the defending player's turn for another fight activation. So actually, this is another reason why fights first is not necessarily good, because you might end up having to use a fights first unit when you don't actually want to. Okay, so an overrun fight. So if you've become engaged... Oh, right, interesting. Okay, so charging units are not the only things that are eligible to make an overrun fight. It's anything that has become engaged during the fight phase. I mean, I don't think this will come up very often, but if you get engaged at any point, you're going to be eligible for an overrun fight, which is to make an additional pile-in move and then fight. It's going to be very rare, but good to know. Okay, so this is the stuff that I also wanted to have a look into. Consolidation. I wanted to know, both players make a consolidate move, so it's still 3 inches, but the part that is interesting describes which the player whose turn it is resolves all their moves first, followed by their opponent. Each unit cannot make more than one consolidation move. Okay, the part that is interesting is select consolidation mode, ongoing consolidation. You have to engage. Engaging consolidation. This is the part. Engaging consolidation. If your unit is within 3 inches of one or more enemy units, you must select this mode and select one or more of those enemy units. Okay, so you have to move into engagement range of an enemy. Engaging while moving. Each model that is moved must end its move closer to the closest selected enemy unit and engage with it if possible. Okay, that's fine. Objective consolidation. Oh, this is... Okay, this is really interesting. So, you're not... So, if you're not on an objective, So if you're not on an objective, you cannot consolidate into an opponent that's more than 3 inches away. But if the enemy unit is on an objective, you can consolidate to that objective. And objective consolidation is within 3 inches of one of these. Each model that is moved must end its move within range of the selected objective. Yeah, so this is what's really interesting. In objective consolidation, it does not say that you have to remain outside of engagement range of another unit. So you may not be eligible for engaging consolidation, which is to consolidate into an opponent unit, which is like 5 inches away. But if you have an objective consolidation, you can consolidate into that enemy unit if that enemy unit is also on the objective. So that's actually a nice sneaky little workaround for getting into combat with another enemy unit if you want to. Okay, cool. End fight phase. Ongoing consolidation. No enemy units are within 3 inches. Yeah, but technically, you could tag just the very corner of this building and then be within 2 inches of engagement range. You know? You could be like right here. And then your base is within 2 inches, so technically you could get into engagement range of that other unit, even in the image example that they've shown. So, hey. That is cool. That's sneaky. I like it. Tyranids, armies, battlefields and tactics. Okay. Placing terrain, don't really mind. I'm just going to copy whatever they've got out there. Creating your own battlefield. Yeah, okay. Exposed terrain offers only. You can just go across it. Okay, great. Light terrain provide barricades, low walls. Okay, it doesn't really actually give us any information. Dense terrain. Emissions deployment map may define which terrain categories should be present in which terrain area, meeting these requirements. Okay, whatever. Light terrain. I mean, you can pass through light terrain. Terrain and movement, exposed, light. Okay, yeah, great. You can move through it. Infantry, beast, swarm, mobile. We know. What are they called? Beast Snagger Boys. What's Beast Riders? We know that they have got the mobile keywords. Beast. I can't remember what they're called. Anyway, the ones that ride the dinosaurs or ride the giant squigs, they are mobile and they can now move through terrain features. Infantry, beast, swarm models can move vertically through dense terrain features. Okay, so they can climb up to a second floor. Other things cannot go onto a second floor. Okay. Other models can move horizontally through dense terrain features, provided that all sections of the terrain feature are less than 2 inches in height. I mean, this is basically never going to come up, right? Exposed light. That kind of covers this anyway. I feel like it's a little bit redundant. Plunging fire. I mean, we know about plunging fire. Solid terrain. It's the solid rule. Oh, I think this is the one. Solid terrain. A terrain feature has the solid rule, as dense terrain features do. A model cannot end a move such that any part of it is through any enclosed part of that terrain feature. Not even through small openings such as doors and windows. Okay, so basically you cannot poke your gun barrels through doors and windows. They had already kind of clarified this. So, you know, that's what's going on there. Setting up or ending a move. Models can move vertically. Model must remain half an inch horizontally if that terrain feature. Okay, sure. Okay, you have to climb up and down. Sure. Okay, you can't overhang terrain. I mean, we had that before. Oh, I see, because they've got like crates and things. I mean, this just comes up so rarely. Terrain and visibility. Benefit of cover. Okay, so we're getting onto something interesting again now. Benefit of cover. Each time a ranged attack targets a unit, if every model in that unit meets one or more of the following conditions, that has the benefit of cover. That model has the blah 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 keyword and is within a terrain area. Okay. Just within. Not wholly within, just within. And we are talking about individual models here. We're not talking about units. This is on a per model basis. If it is not fully visible to attacking model due to one or more intervening terrain features, and one or more intervening obscuring terrain area. So an obscuring terrain area will be a footprint. Okay, so this is interesting. So I was curious if you could be like, will this live stream still be up after you're done? Yes, it will. Yes, it will. It will get automatically loaded. That's why I'm doing it on YouTube, because it will automatically be in the live section of the channel after it's uploaded. We tested it for the first time the other day. I mean, I don't do lives, but you know, rules got released. So yeah, so it should just automatically be there. Benefit of cover. Yeah, what were we talking about? That model is not fully visible to the attacking model. Yeah, we're all streaming still. I think there is like, it does take time. You can't watch in work. Yeah, obviously not. That's fine. I mean, you know, I fortunately have a day off today. If it was 2 weeks from now, I would not be doing this in the middle of the day. But yeah, thanks for listening anyway. You know, I don't usually do these. I think this is like the second time I've ever been live. And I didn't notify anyone. It's just because the rules came out and I was excited and I was like, yeah, great, let's read through all the rules. Yeah, so infantry beast swarm. Okay. Yeah, so it wasn't entirely clear in what had been released previously whether or not terrain features themselves would count as intervening terrain. I don't know how else to explain it. Basically, if an edge of a monster was poking out the side of a building, if there was no terrain feature blocking that, would that actually have the benefit of cover? And I guess this is saying yes, it definitely does, because there's an obscuring terrain area in the way. So that's kind of clarified here. Of course, if you get a toe on, then it's no longer an obscuring terrain area. So then it would become fully visible. Okay. But you're doing a day shift today, or I don't know where in the world you are, so. detection range. Okay, okay, so we're on to hidden rules now. This is the fun hidden stuff. Detection range is 15 inches. I need to remember that. I keep thinking it's 18 inches for some reason, but it is 15 inches for detection range. This model's unit did not make one or more range attacks during the turn or during the previous turn. That's interesting that it's phrased as turn. My brain is now breaking. Oh, you're in the UK. I see. Okay. I understand. We've got another live stream and UK time, but again, it's at 7 p.m. on Wednesday, where we're going to be talking about this a bit more. But it's not on YouTube this time. The next one will be on TikTok. But anyway, yeah, 18 inches with some detachments. Yeah, but my brain just defaults to 18 for some reason, but detection range is 15. And there are some things which are extending detection range. We've already seen that in some of the detachment rules. So this, during the previous player's turn. Okay. Battle round. I'm now getting battle round and turn confused in my head. Battle round is both players' turn, right? Yeah, I think so. So, so if the person is fired in their turn, which is right before yours, they will then get the hidden rule. Okay. That's fine. I understand that. Oh, 21 with Death Guard. Interesting. What was the other thing I saw with Death Guard? I feel like they had a few bonuses in their army, but I can't remember what they were. There are a few things that were benefiting Death Guard. Okay. Obscuring. Yeah, I mean, obscuring line of sight. That's very clear. Solid. Okay. So this has been made official finally. I had speculations on this if it would be designed where you actually could definitely shoot through the ground floor, even in tournaments. But no. Games Workshop themselves have clarified line of sight cannot be drawn across any enclosed gap in the surface such as terrain feature. So what was just in tournaments is now Games Workshop official. You cannot shoot through windows. There are no windows in the grim darkness of the far future. Have I got the tagline correct? Designer note. They are not visible while sheltering in ground level terrain, irrespective of small openings such as door windows, bullet holes, yada yada yada. 3 inches is the height of the first floor of many terrain features, but some missions may adjust the height at which this rule takes effect. Interesting. Okay, things are differently solid. But it does mean that large monsters, especially like bloodthirst and things, you're going to see them across the board, and towering units. So mid-sized units are going to be good, like Hellbrutes, Dreadnoughts, things like that. You're going to be able to hide them in terrain, but yeah, we're going to have some issues with large creatures. Terrain objectives. Yeah, okay. Terrain objectives, level of control, OC. We know what about OC at this point. Huh. Huh. Is this a change? Level of control. The player who has the highest level of control over that objective controls that objective. If both players have the same level of control over that objective, unless that objective is secured. Ooh! 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 Is this a change? Does this mean that stickying objectives means that you retain control even if the OC is equal? While one or more units from a player's army are within range of an objective, that player controls for each that unit is said to be controlling that objective. Secured objectives. Some rules allow an objective to be secured by a player's army. When an objective is secured by a player's army, that objective remains under their control even once they no longer have any units within range of it, until their opponent's level of control over that objective is greater than theirs at the end of a phase. Oh, let's read through this again. I think that sticking objectives means that you still retain it even if the OC is balanced on that objective. Yeah. You kill fun with old terrain. Ah, interesting. Okay. So, at the start of the battle, no objective. Blah, 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 blah. The player who has the highest level. Okay. The player who has the highest level of control of that objective controls that objective. If both players have the same level of control over that objective, unless that objective is secured, that objective is not controlled by either player. Interesting. Yeah, so I think the sticking objectives causes you to control it. Ah, so yeah, stickying. Like, I really think stickying is going to be really important this edition, especially with all the battle shock changes. Persistent battle shock. Like, if you can sticky an objective, it doesn't matter if you're battle shocked. We already know all of this. We know that if you're half onto an objective, we do definitely control it. Using stratagems. Spending command points. Okay, so this is the stuff that we know we can't double stack. I mean, they've already quite extensively gone through this. Both players can use stratagems. Each stratagem states how many CP it costs, when it can be used, what's target, what is the effect, yada yada yada. Each player can use the same stratagem multiple times during the battle, but with the following restrictions. Cannot use the stratagem more than once in the same phase. Each player cannot target the same unit with more than one stratagem in the same phase. Oh, it does say unless otherwise stated. Oh, I guess that's, you know, stuff like, oh, you can use Heroic Intervention again. No problem. Okay, select targets as described in the stratagem. Reduce the cost, resolve the effects. Okay, fine. Yeah, we're going to get some stratagems. Okay, so we already know most of this. So leap to defend is the old heroic intervention. It is now done at the end of the charge phase, not as a reactive move after something has moved. Into the fray, we can make a 6-inch charge. It does cost an extra 1 command point, but this is going to be a great way to defend objectives for melee players. You know, there's not going to be any contested objectives and things. Okay, command reroll, same as before. Explosives. This is basically new grenades. They've even had to include the word grenades because they're not going to update every single character sheet when the rules drop. Yeah, I mean, it's just grenades. Epic challenge. So this is going to be a really important stratagem in this next edition because precision is going to get leveled up. Or it's going to be more important based on the way that wound allocation is done. Or not how wound allocation is done, how saving throws are done. Well, you won't be able to sticky the objective if you were battle shocked. But if you had previously stickied an objective and then get battle shocked, then it won't matter that you've been battle shocked. That's what I was trying to say. So, like, I put some cultists on my home objective, and then like Tyranids come in, and so I sticky it on turn 1, and then Tyranids are like, hey, everyone roll a battle shock check. At least you're not losing your home objective, right? Insane bravery. Okay, so this is interesting. They've remained it as only once per battle. I mean, we've already seen these, all of these before, but just going through them quickly. But the thing is the battle shock persists from the previous round now, so you now won't be able to use Insane Bravery on a unit that's already battle shocked to pass the battle shock. You'll need something more interesting like the Imperial Guard Commissar's ability, where he like shoots one of the guard in the head, and then they're like, "No, we're cool. We're not battle shocked anymore." In order to get out of battle shocks. So yeah. Explosives, yeah, we know that's just grenades. Crushing impact. So this, look, I know that monsters can now use crushing impact, but taking mortal wounds yourself, it does a maximum of 6 mortal wounds. It's not that many mortal wounds, and you're going to average 3 mortal wounds on yourself. Like, I feel like they're going to have to rules are out of this. Like, I don't know. I don't think you should be suffering mortal wounds yourself. Like, I understand, like, you smash your head, like a giant monster smashes its head into a tank, it's going to probably take some mortal wounds. But at the same time, I just don't think that works so well in the gameplay. Like, people will probably still use it, but, oh, man, I'm not going to be using Crushing Impact anymore. I just don't think it's worth the wounds you'll do to yourself. Rapid Ingress, great. Okay, so this is a big change. You cannot use this stratagem during the first battle round. So before, the lion, for example, could come off in your command phase on turn 1 and rapid ingress in the opponent's first turn. Now that is not going to be possible. You are not allowed to rapid ingress at all on turn 1. There's also, like, I used to use, it's like a car-on-car collision. Yeah, it is. It is. It is indeed. Yeah. It's fair, but just from a game point of view, anyway. Yeah, you cannot use it in the first round. Very interesting. I used to use, there's a thing called a Fade Thirster, which is in the Shadows of the Warp, you get your Bloodthirst to go and kill something, and then you take it off the battle round turn 1 and then rapid ingress it. You cannot do that anymore. No. Smoke has changed, and this is actually, I think, better in some ways and not better in others. So the interesting thing about this is that it now provides cover to things behind it, as far as I remember reading. Start of your opponent's shooting phase. Smoke unit. Each time an attack targets either your smoke unit or a unit that is not fully visible to the attacking model because of one or more models in your smoke unit, that target has the benefit of cover. So yeah, basically you get your Rhino, you pop smoke on it, you've got a unit of Berserkers stood behind. Those unit of Berserkers now also get the benefit of cover. But I think there was other bonuses before to smoke. I honestly never used it because I'm mostly a Demons player and it just was irrelevant to me. But yeah, it now provides cover to the things behind it, which is, interesting. Fire Overwatch. End of your opponent's movement phase. Yeah, so this has changed the end of the movement phase. It is now snap shooting, which we've read before. And snap shooting is listed here. Oh, interesting. So you're only allowed to... I can't remember... Overwatch didn't have a range before, did it? So you can now only target something within 24 inches. And it's only on a 6 and you cannot re-rolls. So honestly, unless you're like a torrent weapon now, I just don't feel that Fire Overwatch is going to get used that much. But very effective for torrent weapons. Heroic Intervention. I feel like this has been listed the second time. Leap to defend, into the fray. That's in the, I think that's in the charge section of the rules, so they've just double listed it. Counter-offensive, we all know this. I mean, everyone just calls it an interrupt though. so counter-offensive, you're going to get to give one of your units fight first to be the next thing to fight in the fight phase. Fight step of your opponent's fight phase. Yeah, so you can't use this in your own fight phase, which maybe that would have come out nowadays. I don't know. So then it lists how we perform actions. Okay. I mean, we know how you use actions. I mean, you know, use an action. Complete an action. A unit performing an action makes a move. Oh, weird. You can complete an action excluding pile-in and consolidation moves. When are you going to be completing an action and be valid for a pile-in or consolidation move? I guess it comes up sometimes. I guess if you get charged? Yeah, I guess if something has charged you and it's an action that takes 2 turns, so something like sabotage, I guess, you get charged but you remain alive, so you do still complete that action. And you can do pile-in and consolidate moves. I guess that's why that's listed that way, or written that way. And then we've got a bunch of very cool images. And now we're on to advanced. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here's the second half of Tank Shock, of Big Guns Never Tire. So we've got advanced rules, monsters and vehicles. You cannot be moved through friendly monster and vehicle models. Oh, wait. Each time you make a normal or advanced move with a monster or vehicle unit, that unit can be moved through friendly and enemy models, excluding other monster and vehicle models. Okay, it's the same rules as it was before. Of course, monsters with fly can move through other monsters and vehicles, but I think that they now take a 2-inch penalty. I'd have to go and double check that. I think that's actually going to come later because I haven't seen the fly rule come up yet. Some models do not have a base. Many of these are monster vehicle models. Such models have the frame keyword. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, they've changed the word hull to frame now. Okay, so it's now no longer called hull vehicles, it's now called frame. So I guess but I can't think of any, I guess that's to include monster models, is it, that don't have a base? But I don't know if there are any at this point. Anyway, it is what it is. They've called it a frame now. That's annoying. Okay. Here we go. Here's the second half of Big Guns Never Tire. Shooting while engaged with my monster vehicles. A unit that is engaged with monster vehicle unit is not eligible to shoot. Shooting at engaged models and vehicles. In your shooting phase, enemy monster vehicle units that are engaged can be selected as targets of ranged attacks. Great. I think they probably should have included this higher in the rules, but you know, it is what it is. Each time a model makes a ranged hit, subtract 1 from the hit roll, excluding attacks made with close quarter weapons by models in a unit engaged with the target. Okay, so close quarters, you can't fire pistols and hit on regular rolls. Still at -1 to hit unless you're actually engaged with it. Okay, great. Oh, we've got embarking and disembarking. This is again interesting because now we've got the embark and disembark into combat. Transport models have a transport capacity. Yeah, we know all that. That's normal. You can embark. This is all the same as 10th edition. The unit is eligible to embark within it. The transport has sufficient remaining transport capacity for each model in the unit. Yeah, okay. Whatever. You can get into a transport. Fine. Okay. Okay, here we go. This is the stuff that's interesting. Disembarking. In the active player's movement phase, you can disembark from it by making a disembark move. If a transport model is destroyed, you have to make an emergency disembark move. Okay, so you got 2 types. Wait, what? Okay. Okay, the thing that I'm saying what to is that I think that it just said in the active player's movement phase, each friendly unit embarked within transport can make a disembark from it. But I thought you had a combat disembark. Are they going to list that in a minute? Maybe the wording is not actually written correctly here. Because I think you can disembark if you're engaged in combat as well. Tactical disembark is 3 inches. Combat disembark is 6 inches. Interesting. So, yeah, and it's actually listed here. So I think that's that's not entirely worded correctly, but that's okay. We know what they mean. All the following apply to your unit. Okay, so rapid disembark. We know this is the same as before. Tactical disembark. Yeah, this is the same as before. We can get out and we can move, etc. Oh, it's not entirely the same. If that transport remains stationary or has not... Okay, so while moving. Otherwise, you must select this mode. Make a hazard for each model in your unit. Wait, what? Okay, I'm getting confused now. All the following... I want to know how are you eligible for a combat disembark? Okay, I think this is something, again, I'm going to have to look up later. Don't fully understand the combat disembark part, and I don't know where it's written. So I guess if you are already engaged in combat, you can combat disembark. Yeah, so this is, so you can disembark within 6 inches and then you can roll hazard checks. But I felt like your unit is battle shocked until the enchant is not eligible to recharge. Okay, so basically you can get out of a vehicle that's engaged in combat. That's all this means. Each model can be set up engaged with one or more enemy units that transport is engaged with. Okay, nothing here is telling me that when you get charged, you're allowed to disembark from that vehicle. But I am sure that they said that you could do that, because it only says it's in the active player's movement phase. So I guess the other really interesting thing is you could charge... No, you can't, because it's after... It's during the movement phase. Okay, I don't understand this. I need to go and dig into this further. I need to dig into the combat disembark further. Because I was pretty sure you could disembark when your unit got charged. So I need to go and read these rules. Yeah. But we'll look through them again. Emergency disembark move. So this has been changed to be more deadly. So your unit gets destroyed, you set it up, and then you make a hazard roll for each model in the unit. And then it could still get blown up and do even more damage to you. Whereas before, you only made the hazard roll for disembarking. Anyway, ooh, okay, here we go. Here's the leader and support stuff. Actually, it's not actually that interesting yet. So we know that there's going to be leaders. We know we're going to be support. Support always have to be attached to another unit. Leaders don't always have to be attached to another unit. Toughness characteristic. I mean, this is all the same. Okay. There is, however... so this is formed as an attached leader. Each time an attack targets an attached unit. Rules that are triggered when a unit destroyed are only triggered when the last model that started the battle in an attached unit is destroyed. Okay, so you have to destroy the leaders as well as the entire unit in order for it to count now. You don't count the unit and the leader separate at any point. Keywords, if a leader has got it, then the rest of the unit has got it. That's the same as in the previous edition. Abilities in attached units. Yeah, so some things will say that it's affecting a model. Other things will say that it's affecting a unit. If it's a unit, then it affects all the models. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. Yada yada yada. Abilities in attached units. The last model in that leader/support unit is destroyed. That's interesting wording. I would have thought that it would be until the end of the combat. Only in Death is Due to End. Leader and support units often have the abilities to make the models they are leading more powerful. The rules on the left mean that once the models conferring such effects are destroyed, that attached unit does not continue to benefit from them. Should these models later be revived, however, these will once again apply. So I guess if like Khan was killed, you can no longer re-roll, but then he can come back to life when he stands back up again. Okay, this doesn't actually... This means leader support units continue to benefit from their own abilities, I guess, while this model is leading a unit's ability even after their bodyguard. Okay. Very interesting. Okay, so this is a nice little change. So again, Khan is the example. If the whole unit gets killed, I think previously it says whilst it is leading a unit, it gets this ability. But now, once the whole bodyguard is destroyed, he will still continue to be re-rolling ones, even after the whole bodyguard is destroyed. So that's an interesting change. It's interesting though that saying until it is destroyed, but I imagine it's persisting effects, like it's until the end of that combat activation. It's not written here, but I assume that that's the case, but we will definitely have to double check that one. We can place things into strategic reserves. Combined points total of all strategic reserves cannot be more than 50% of your points limit. I mean, that's pretty much the same as before. You could have, before it was split into reserves and strategic reserves. And the strategic reserves, I can't remember which way around it was, but one of them was 25%. And otherwise stated, the combined points of all the things, including those embarked in the transports that are in strategic reserves. Yeah, I mean, I can't remember what the exact wording was. I could never remember which one was strategic reserves and which was reserves. But like the one where you could only come on from the battlefield edge was at 25%. I guess that's now at 50%. Some rules allow units to be removed from the battlefield and put into strategic reserves. These are repositioned units. Reposition unit that is set up in the same turn has still made, yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, okay. Okay, that's all basically the same, or like kind of obvious. If it's not on the table, it doesn't give an aura. Ingress move, yeah, I mean, okay, so wait, what? Mistake! They've written a wrong thing! Oh no, sorry, no, they haven't made a mistake. This is just because I'm thinking of deep striking. An ingress move is only from a battlefield edge, right? Okay, yeah. Okay, so you have to come in 6 inches from battlefield edge and more than 8 inches away from enemy units. Yeah. Okay, sure. Surge moves. Yeah, so I feel they're just like clarifying what surge move is. Yeah, so this is actually something that I saw in one of Tactical Tortoise's videos, which he actually got wrong, which is rare for that man. But yeah, he had said that you can surge into multiple targets, but Games Workshop is clarifying here that you can only do a surge move into the target of the surge move. Into the surge target. Yeah, can't do multiple engagements. Flying models, here we go. Okay, so it does say maximum distance, yeah. So I think that movement... I still don't know 100%. I feel like they need to make... I feel like they need like an FAQ. Like they need like a... Really, please clarify this. If maximum distance is a move characteristic or not. Like if something that ignores movement modifiers, is that still affected by this minus subtract 2 from the maximum distance? I want to know. I want to know it categorically because I still don't understand that 100%. I think that you do have to subtract 2 no matter what, even if your model ignores move characteristic, ignores movement modifiers, but I'm just Just not 100% sure. Aura abilities. There you go. So this is nice that they have clarified this in the rules. Your model is affected by its own aura ability. Thank you very much, DW, for explicitly stating that. That's very nice. Faction abilities. Yeah, so faction abilities still exist. Psychic abilities. If a psychic ability causes a model to lose more than 1 wound, each of those wounds is said to be inflicted by a psychic attack. Okay, sure. I thought you were going to give me the interesting psychic information there. War gear abilities. Yeah, okay, sure. Very obvious. Plunging fire, we know about this. Extra ballistic skill for towering and for things on a second floor. Oh, aircraft. Oh no! I feel like I just want to skip this one and read it for a while on my own. So, aircraft have to go into strategic reserves. They can only make an ingress move, so they cannot come on, in that case, on turn 1. At the end of your opponent's turn, all aircraft units go back into strategic reserves. Each time a unit... Okay, so does that mean that they basically have turn 2 and 3, and then they have turns 4 and 5. So they come onto the table. Do they get to make a move immediately? No, they must get to make a move. Are they not allowed to make any moves? At the end of your opponent's turn, so we can't do bombing runs anymore or anything. All aircraft units must be placed into strategic reserve. So every single turn they come off the table? Is that right? Am I reading this right? Each time a unit makes any type of move, all models can be moved through aircraft models. Okay, so they don't affect where we move. Each time a unit makes a pile in, okay, so unless you have fly or aircraft, you cannot engage an aircraft. Being engaged solely with one or more aircraft unit does not prevent a unit from being eligible to make a normal or advanced move. Okay, so you can basically fall back and it's not actually a fallback move. Shooting. Oh, interesting. Someone actually commented on this in one of my videos. Plunging fire has no effect on aircraft units, so you do not get the +1 to shoot aircrafts. I made a joke that you had to jump as a knight in order to be able to get the plunging fire on aircrafts. Aircraft units are not able to charge and can only make melee attacks against flying units. Only flying things can attack aircraft. Okay. I still don't understand how aircraft move. It seems to say they literally just sit on the battlefield and do some shots and don't move. And now we're on to abilities. Okay. I mean, they're kind of self-explanatory. Blast weapons, duplicated abilities, anti-blast we know. Anti is the same as before. Assault, same as before. Cleave is basically just blast for melee. Close quarters, we've gone through close quarter shooting already. Deep strike. when you make an ingress move, you can be 8 inches away from enemy units. Okay, so just deep strike. Deadly demise. On a 6 it blows up. That's all the same as before. Devastating wounds. Okay, here we go. So this has actually already been said, but mortal wounds. These are inflicted after resolving any normal damage inflicted by those attacks. So, each time an attack made... Okay, has this changed? Each time an attack made with devastating wounds, weapons results in a critical wound. The attack sequence for that attack ends and the target unit suffers a number of mortal wounds equals to the damage characteristic. These are inflicted after resolving any normal damage inflicted by those attacks. Mortal wounds from these don't roll over. Interesting. This is going to need an FAQ as well, I think, because in the previous edition, all mortal wounds were done at the end of combat. Says resolving any normal condition inflicted by those attacks. It doesn't say after all of the attacks in the squad, so maybe that's a change. But that's not super clear. I'm going to need to... I should have been writing down notes about what has changed. I need to FAQ Games Workshop. What did I just say? Devastating. Extra attacks. We can use those as well as the original. Each time a unit can turn extra attacks. Okay, so has this... Okay, so there's no wording on this about extra attacks not getting extra attack rolls. Each time a unit containing one or more of the models with extra attacks, those models will make attacks with those weapons in addition to any others. In the select weapon step for each one, you must select all of that model's extra attack weapons and one of the model's other melee weapons if possible. Okay, so extra attacks. So in the previous edition, if you had something which like gave additional attacks, it wouldn't apply to extra attacks. Get bonus attacks. That's probably on something which there's probably listed somewhere else where it says like his bonus attacks. Firing deck. Yeah, I mean this is going to be the same as before, right? Yeah, there will be. So you're no longer eligible to shoot if it has made extra attacks. So there would be really weird scenarios where maybe if you had like Hell Blasters inside a Rhino and they shot and then the Rhino goes and gets destroyed and then the Hell Blasters get killed, they would no longer be eligible to make more attacks, I guess. Because they're no longer eligible to shoot. Is that how that works? I don't know 100%. Feel no pain is the same. Hazardous, yeah, we know hazardous is the same. Well, it's not quite the same. Fights first unit we've already been through. Infiltrators. So this, you're only now allowed one infiltrator and one... You're not allowed to use infiltrators and use the scout ability. We know that Heavy can now move 3 inches. Lance. We know that Games Workshop made a mistake and they said they'd get to reroll Lances, but actually no, it's +1 to the wound. They've already said that they've made that mistake. Hover. Okay, so aircraft with hover don't subtract 2 from the maximum distance. Ignores cover. Yeah, so ignores cover. Cool. Lethal hits, we know what that is. Indirect fire, we've been through. Lone op is 12 inches. One shot is one shot. Yeah, that's fine. Pistol and close quarter are the same. Melter, we know what Melter does. Precision. Yeah, I mean, we know about that. Same as before. Psychic. Here we go. Interesting. So each time attack is made with a psychic weapon, ignore any modifiers to the ballistic skill and weapon skill. So this is big bonus for Grey Knights. Attacks made with psychic weapons are known as psychic attacks. Yeah, great. Okay, so it's just the hit roll that is modified. Perfect. So you can do one of the following with scouts. Again, this was misstated by the commentators in one of the games. You can put scouts units now into strategic reserves and place it immediately onto the table. Dedicated transports can make a scout move the same as before, and a scout move after everyone's moved. You can. Okay, this is a slight difference. Maximum distance. Okay, so you can move and you can have to be more than 8 inches horizontally away from all enemy units. Before that was 9 inches. So it's the same as like the deep strike rule or ingress rule. So that's interesting. That's been changed. Rapid fire, we know what rapid fire does. Stealth has now been changed to benefit of cover, which is not great for stealth. Support is support units. Sustained hits, yeah, we've got that. It's the same as before. Torrent weapons, we know, is now good. Super heavy walker. Twin link reroll wounds. Okay, what's super heavy walker? You can move through. Oh, right, you can move through terrain features, but if you go through something larger, you have to make a roll, and on a 1, you're battle shocked. Some units cannot be at half strength. Number of models a unit contains at the start of the first battle round is its starting strength. Number of remaining models in the unit is half. I mean, this is just... Okay, sure. Some rules add a new army. Okay, sure. Destroyed. When a model is destroyed, first resolve. Yeah, okay. Different move characteristics. Eligible fight. Unable to fight. Okay, sure. Oh, different move characteristics. This is interesting. So if you've got like a leader on horseback leading berserkers, or not on horseback, on Juggernaut. If different models in the moving unit have different movement characteristics, the maximum distance for that move will be different for those models. Okay, so it's done on a model by model basis. Mixed keywords, you'll get all the keywords. Yeah, okay, you have all the keywords. That's the same as before. Revived. Ah, here we go. Oh, and we're at the end. Okay. When a rule revives, resurrects, or returns models to a unit, the specified number of destroyed models are added to the unit. This cannot expand a unit past its starting strength. Models returned to a unit on the battlefield must be set up. Okay, they still have not answered that question. I feel like I haven't seen in here the wound regeneration, but anyway. FAQs. Is a unit with no ranged weapons eligible to shoot? Yes. Yeah, that was the same as before. When my unit shoots using close quarter shooting, I can't use blast weapons. Can't use blast weapons. Can a unit that is eligible to make an overrun fight be selected to fight? Do so if it is not also eligible to fight. Okay, sure. Okay. Not that interesting. What did I say? So things that are interesting. The combat disembark. I still need to look into. Aircraft moving. I still need to look into. Devastating wounds at the end of combat is not super clear. Extra attacks, do they get bonus attacks like it will, or not, as it was in 10th? Don't know 100%. And healing is still not entirely clear. I haven't found the healing rule. But apart from that, nice. I like this edition. Let's play some games. Thanks for watching if you're still around, and yeah, bye.